People aren't the only ones who get hair problems. Our close fur buddies need some treatment too. Otherwise, their fur could get too matted, such as the fur of dogs and cats. Let's check out the rest of these cases and take them as a lesson not to neglect our furry friends. To greener pastures. Nothing comes out all right after being held in a 12x12 barn stall for 6 years. Lazarus, a Great Pyrenees, was left stuck there as owners with terminal conditions couldn't give it the right doggy treatment. Mountain dog breeds are supposed to run across green pastures and live their lives, not stay stuck in a closed space. This particular dog breed grows double coats, and because it couldn't naturally shed it by moving around, it was left to accumulate mounds of fur on its back. Lazarus is now in the hands of an owner who helped them recover and regain their strength. Lazarus was shaved down, and behold, all of the furs weighed a total of 35 pounds. That's a whole other dog. All that weight has left Lazarus with muscle, gait, and subsequently walking and running problems. The owner is now working hard to properly rehabilitate and help Lazarus regain his former glory. It's taking some time, which makes sense as he's never been able to walk and run so freely for the first 6 years of the 7 years of his life. Good luck, Lazarus. Bag Job. It's not enough for this baby's previous owner that they abandoned it. They also slimmed its chances for survival when they chose to dump it in a duffel. This poor, severely overweight cat was found in a bag, left to die in a park. Aptly named Big Bertha, a name usually given to trucks. The cat weighed almost 12 kilos. It is 3 times bigger than the average weight of a 2-year-old cat. The poor thing's fur was also severely matted, probably because of its inability to effectively groom itself due to the weight it put on. Once it was taken to an animal center, the veterinary doctor who checked on it noted that it was so big it couldn't go through the door pet flap. The matted fur was carefully clipped away, and from that alone, Big Bertha lost half a pound. Part of her recovery is losing weight so she can go down a healthy size before getting adopted. Through a carefully crafted diet and exercise regimen, Big Bertha lost an effective 4 kilos, which is a third of its initial body weight. Bunny Rescue. Domesticated animals can no longer survive in the wild on their own. These 4 rabbits were found wandering in a park, with hair all matted and maggots in their bottoms. Rabbits are among the most returned pets in pet shops. People gift them to unprepared kids for Easter, not considering how they might not have the capacity to tend to them. If they can't be returned to shops, people turn to the worst option and release them in the wild. These poor bunnies were among those casualties. Domesticated animals have also lost the capability to defend themselves from attacks, which must be why, on top of the maggots, these poor bunnies were also found with bite wounds all over their bodies. The beauty under. Upon first look, you'd never guess how small the animal within actually is. Poodles are supposed to be lapdogs, hence small and easy to carry. This poor puppy's fur should not have gotten to this bulk. An attentive woman was walking down the street one cold December when distressed cries distracted her. Upon investigation, she finds what took her a while to realize was a dog. She then called a rescue, and they were quick to take him in. The fur has gotten all filthy, matted, and tangled, which impeded its ability to walk and ask for help. It took 4 hours to cut through the hardened clumps, and when it was all off, everyone was surprised of the poodle's actual size. They estimate it to be around 7 years old. Upon investigation, they found that it had no microchip, hence no way to identify the owner. Based on the circumstances, they also think it was dropped off a ditch where it tumbled down and got itself even more tangled. There was just no other way it could have ended up there on its own volition. Poor thing. Carpet cat. Imagine lugging a carpet that you can never get rid of. That shallowly describes the situation of Sinbad, a 9-year-old Persian cat that was rescued from an elderly gentleman's home. It was becoming difficult for him to properly tend to his cat, and it shows in the obvious neglect reflected in Sinbad's physique. Sinbad has become very weak, but still showed a very friendly demeanor to the rescue staff, as if knowing they've come to its aid. Sinbad could barely move in its own skin. It showed in its actions that it has become difficult to eat, or just do basic cat activities because of the bulk. All the removed matted fur weighed a total of over 5 pounds. Removing it took hours, but the sweet Sinbad stayed tolerant and patient throughout the whole ordeal. When that coat came off, the small cat underneath weighed only 7 pounds, close to the same weight as the removed fur. Sinbad initially rejected offers for food, but after a week of recovery and proper dieting, it's back to being lively and loving. Not by the hair on my chinny chin chin. Chinchillas are one of the more popular exotic pets, but even then, knowledge of their care and maintenance can be scarce. Look at this chinchilla with matted hair all over their back. Poor thing. With its tail lifted, it almost looks like a peacock, but with fur instead. The mats were so big that they formed patterned clumps over the back, which must have been heavy for the little critter. Among the land-living mammals, chinchillas have the densest fur. Each follicle has over 80 hairs growing from it, which makes around 20,000 hairs per square inch. That's crazy dense. They can't bathe in water because they'll develop mold, so their cleaning times consist of rolling around in sand. This motion is the same one that keeps their fur groomed. When taking them in as pets, it's important for owners to maintain their healthy fur. This rescue organization dedicates itself to taking in uncared for chinchillas and finding them new homes. It took effort and care, but the poor chinchilla was looking healthy once they finished combing off all the matted fluff. Simon, the social star. It could barely walk, but the eyes were still full of life. This is what caught the attention of the social media audience of the pet rescue that found Simon. The 11-year-old Shih Tzu was shaking in its steps as it walked around the floor, waiting for its turn on the grooming table. Simon was found by a man on his way to work, who quickly called an animal rescue, despite not knowing for sure what it was. It took him just one look to recognize a creature in need and get the right people to help. Simon was 20 pounds when they found him, but shed 6.5 of those pounds once they were done getting rid of his horrible matted fur. It took 2 hours to get the job done, but the effect in poor Simon's look was instantaneous. He could move much easier when he got in much better shape. Simon was an unfortunate victim of neglect and still needs a lot of dental and medical attention, but thanks to his lovely personality, people are lining up to adopt him. Ninetailed Kitty. Is it a nine-tailed fox? Is it a spider cat? Unfortunately, that's no mythical animal. This neglected calico was left abandoned after its elderly owner passed. But frankly, even if that was fairly recent, this cat appears to have been mistreated for years now. The animal rescue that recovered the animal described it as the worst case of matting they've dealt with of all time. The fur of its back was so matted, they've formed dreads and almost looked like false tails. The look in the cat's eyes isn't any better. It looked so miserable and done with its situation that the vets had to act fast. The operation took hours, but they finally got rid of all the locks. Laying them all out filled a table. It was that much. It's a sacrifice that will assure a safer future for the kitty. See you all next time.